And just like that, we are in the North American Grand Finals here, the Paladins World Championship for this year. And if all of this action makes you want to jump into game yourself and play some Paladins, do it in style. We partnered with SteelSeries for this event. We've got a Paladins mousepad as well as some speaker plates that you guys can put on those headphones. Make yourself play better, I suppose, is the way that works. You get a cool mousepad and suddenly you're better at the game. I assume that's the way things work. Head over to steelseries.com and check out the deal we have going on with them there. Gore Miser is still with me, though, to walk through the grand finals here in North America. Gore, snapping, not so unexpected to be here in the finals. YeezyPogChamp, a little unexpected to be here in the finals.
I would argue the most unexpected to be here in the finals. If I was going to take a shuffle and a lot on any of these teams, YeezyPogChamp was not the one that I expected to see make it all this way. I was thinking for sure Snappin' Sanguine Finals or Snappin' Pickled Pepper, but the fact that we ended up here with YeezyPogChamp, it goes to show that things can be, I think, anywhere in North America, and I think this makes the rest of the weekend just as exciting, knowing that it's not all black and white based on what we've seen in Phase 2 of play. But this is where things get a little shaky for me, Dave. Snappin' YeezyPogChamp. Last time, YeezyPogChamp go up 2 games, lose 3 in a row. This time, they're already technically down a game because of that winner's advantage. Snappin' won earlier with that reverse sweep. That's where you lose me a little bit there in the bracket. I think if you're already down 1, yes, you just had a really hard-fought set to get here. But to do it again, especially after you face this team already, that's a whole different kind of hurdle to jump.
Agreed. Yeah. So for anyone at home, I know some of chat was asking. We are heading into game 2 right now. Technically, Snappin' in a double elimination bracket did not lose any of their sets, so the advantage they gain is 1 game in hand, since they didn't get the opportunity to lose a set. So they get 1 game in hand here in the grand finals. So we'll start calling it game 2 from here on out. We'll start off on Splitstone Quarry. Gore, of all of some of the fast-paced action we've had here today, Splitstone Quarry has kind of been a safe haven for us when things have slowed down a little bit and we get a chance to catch our breaths.
It is, in my mind, the new age Ice Mines that comes through. I'm actually interested. YeezyPogChamp, I'm looking down at their bands. Ice Mines, Warder's Gate, no Jack False, which has been a downfall for them in the past. Even if Splitstone goes their way, I anticipate a map like that. Stone Keep as well, 2 of the maps that Snappin' won earlier to maybe jump right back in their favor. So this is very, very important for them, knowing that they don't have a lot of places to go that I would qualify as a safe haven outside of this one. I mean, this has been their go-to. So let's hope for their case that it is somewhere that they can dig their heels in and push right back and try to equal this up, because Snappin', they're at the point already where they only have to win 2.
You know, it's interesting, I think, that Yeezy feel the need to take this Makoa off the table. I thought they dealt with Legacy's Makoa just fine there on Frog Isle. I suppose it's the potential, the potency that pick can bring. Maybe they're a little bit more nervous about Snappin', whether it's Woodknock, Reincarnated, potentially that'd be playing that Makoa. They feel a little bit more shaky about that matchup specifically. Counter to that point, though, Gore, love the way that Snappin' have now adapted. This Sky pick, I was surprised it wasn't banned out consistently in the previous set that you and I just casted. I mean, it just works too well for this YeezyPogChamp team. So I think great strategy there. You take the Torvald off the table, which you're going to do anyway, and then sweep that Sky away as well.
Especially after what Yato just did a few games in a row when he was able to get her. Again, that first one was a little shaky, and then it just returned back to form. And so if you have 1 bad game out of, 8 that you've played so far on this Sky, then yeah, I'm going to vote for that every single time. She's been doing exceedingly well, and it shifted the meta. I mean, she's shown her face a few times there in North America throughout Phase 2, but wasn't the end-all be-all. So far today, she's been the end-all be-all. And so far as things go after her, it's been pretty standard otherwise.
It sure has, and standard is the way that both of these teams have started off their pick ban here so far. Genos makes some sense. Corvus is still around, though, so that's just Snappin' prioritizing 1 mark healer over the other. I love the way the Genos pairs with that Barrack, though, and the damage number potential that suddenly arises from the front line for Snappin'. Kinessa there as well. Gore, we talked about the impact we've seen some Sky picks have, and Makoa, the yes and no of the impact we've seen from him. Knessa has been pretty consistently good here throughout the day, barring an overpower that flies itself in there and eliminates her right away.
Look, I'm looking at the 4 squad right now for Snappin', and I'm not sure I care whatever number 5 is. I think that is a solid draft on this map that has worked for them and will, in my eyes, work again as of right now. Strix is a little dangerous, Lex is a little dangerous, but the thing they're missing, that Genos, if they had it, I would lean a little more in favor of YeezyPogChamp, but having Corvus instead, I don't know, it's a little shaky. And we're getting some EV sprinkled into this one. I like what Snappin' have on this. This just feels like, in my mind, a better draft. Like, there's no way to sugarcoat it. I don't want to turn you away from watching this game because things can still go catastrophically wrong. But I think in a vacuum, Snappin' have everything that they would want to make this another win.
You think there's enough damage to keep this one close, though, for YeezyPogChamp? I mean, Andrew, Lex, Strix, they'll pile it on.
There's definitely a lot to deal with this Ruckus. I think he's going to find himself quite a bit of trouble. It's getting to the Knessa, dealing with the Eevee that I think they're going to have a little bit of struggles with. Andro, Eevee, maybe they clash heads, and that's something that butts up against each other. Maybe Strix, Knessa clash heads, but somebody on Snappin' feels like they're going to be unchained here, and I think that's the danger YeezyPogChamp are dealing with.
Gore, it is time. Best of 5 grand finals. Game number 2, Finch and Krez on the call.
Thank you, Dolson and Gormizer. Absolutely, Finch and Kresnik here as we move into the all-important North American Finals to find our very best team Snappin' with a 1-game advantage, but up against the triple DPS of YeezyPogChamp. Krez, is it gonna be enough?
It could be. This is a great triple DPS map, but if they don't win the point fight, I think, like, straight up right off the start, I think the Khan might struggle. They're against a Knessa that's going to be on high ground. You know that Ruckus is going to be all over high ground, too. There's a lot of mobility on the side of Snappin' and Khan. Anytime someone's above him, he's just going to take a ton of damage. He can't really live against that. So it depends on how hard the flank fight gets won by Snappin' potentially, and they have characters that might be able to do it.
Such a big set here. Woodknock all day long has been excellent on this Ruckus. Same for Stigma on this Knessa. Will those picks that have worked for them continue here? And Penguin has been masterful on these blasters as well. Perhaps his Eevee can be what they need. He goes up to the air to challenge the Andro, does not win the battle, comes down instead to see Alex in close quarters, using the mobility to escape, but Penguin uses his to retreat as well. Still no blood drawn, but Snappin' with the early lead on the point, 66% and climbing, and YeezyPogChamp seem to not have an answer. Their Khan with Leon's shield is contesting, but contesting barely as Stigma draws first blood. Ratatouille has already fallen, and it's a double as Yato falls as well, and Snappin' continue the onslaught they've been on all day long as they take care of the first mid.
And Reincarnated just lives on the point the whole time. Bones in the perfect position to peel for him, just getting that grip onto that Andro that was trying to get aggressive, guaranteeing the second kill. And as soon as he wants to get aggressive on that Knessa, he just blinks up top. They can't really stop him at any time. Sin Cara tries to contest. He's getting blasted in the skull by Stigma sitting on this high ground as he tries to get even more aggressive. This is what you can get away with when you have the kind of comp that Snappin' have, because Stigma looks forward, but I guarantee you Woodknock and Penguin can throw themselves into the backline at a moment's notice.
They absolutely could. It means you have to watch too many directions at once, and there is no answer as Woodknock gets another. Finally, Penguin drops in trade, but I don't think that's going to get Woodknock to remove from his aggressive positioning. Even a Void Grip coming through does not deter him as he backs up, doesn't want the duel that close with the Lex, who has the potential to burn him at any given moment. This cart, though, has already made a ton of progress, Kresnik. Moving this far on Splitstone, it's not easy with 1:30 left in the bank. They'll let Penguin rejoin them, though, and he certainly has done that now before they look to push in again.
I like the setup they have here, though, with Woodknock sitting here nearby, and as soon as YeezyPogChamp look away, that's when Woodknock will be able to make progress, but actually use the Ice Storm to go in first, and Ratatouille just gets deleted.
It works, but it does mean that Penguin trades his life. Ball and Berry is the one that claims him. So Lex, for Eevee, probably favors the defense here since it is the 4v4. And they'll have backup quick, but they've already gotten one kill, so maybe the Accursed Arm can even the playing field, and it does. They've gotten rid of Bones now, and that is the healing removed. A double now for Yato Acosta as he grabs another. And that should stall out this offense yet again. This has been a great push so far, but they're slowing down on this final hurdle.
the perfect synced shot onto Yado. He's been a huge thorn so far in this offense, so taking him down will give Ryan, I think, a chance to get on the point. Reincarnated now contesting with this Barrack, and I hear the Eevee Penguin rotating around, but they're just distracting for Stigma as he pushes up here on the right side.
And that's a critical kill to get, right? Getting rid of the Corvus here early is huge and could limit the healing going the way of YeezyPogChamp. But again, Yado showing up big for them. Takes care of Penguin. Cannot complete the duel here up against Woodknock, though, who forces Yado out of cover and into the open. But the kill's still not there. He turns around and kills Reincarnated, the Andro. It's Yado doing everything for Yeezy here so far. Ratatouille gets the return kill. As Stigma does at least take care of the Andro. But this few numbers gonna be difficult. And instead, no one's on the cart. Yeezy get the defense.
Yeezy are probably not too unhappy about that. It is an easier map to defend on, but look at the ults they're going into the next mid with. Headhunter and Dome Shield got thrown out into the wayside by Snappin', and they have an overpower. They have the flashbang if they get overly aggressive on the side of Snappin'. The overpower is honestly all they really need to rely on here. As long as that connects, they should have a chance here, but Sin Cara's been struggling. Look at the damage. He's getting out damaged by Bones on this Geno. He's doing enough damage to outpace him. I get that he's on Leon's shield. That's not really the do damage talent, but he's been in fights. He's in front of this Barrack a lot of the time, but Reincarnated is just playing that shield just about as well as he needs to. Still, they have to make a little bit of room. They have to keep them distracted enough where they're not constantly thinking about playing line of sight away from the overpower.
Well, the Hexifier has already come out, and Woodknock has made that ultimate work before, but it looks like it doesn't work here. In fact, Ratatouille gets the return kill and shuts down Stigma to start off the fight, but it's a double coming in the other direction. Penguin and Reincarnated on the board, but there is that overpower you mentioned, and it does get the return kill onto Woodknock. So 2 for 2 so far, but Snappin' seem to have got out to an early lead. 30% for them in the back pocket, but no one can afford to come out and contest the mid without Reincarnated here. So they slow things down for now. YeezyPogChamp looking to move out with their Strix in great position up top. Yado in a duel, but gets some backup, and that means Stigma shuts him down. Maybe this can be the opportunity Woodknock needed to get to the backline. Krez, he helps out Stigma a bit, who cuts down Ratatouille, and now, where can the con go? The answer is the grave. They get one more kill, and Snappin' in control of the mid.
And even with Penguin going after this next kill, he has Woodknock to support him, and I love the way the Woodknock is playing Ruckus, just in the side of Thorn, diving when he needs to, but not necessarily overcommitting. He does finally fall, but now Yado has to commit, and they force Bones back, but maybe the rest of the DPSs could turn this.
He even gets a kill, gets a little bit of backup there from the Strix as well, and this has been all Yado, as far as I can tell here from YeezyPogChamp so far, doing a ton. The rest of the squad comes through, they find a couple more kills, and YeezyPogChamp perhaps on life support in this mid, but still alive nonetheless. Snappin' need to regroup to push.
They have Headhunter for burst. I think Woodknock just has to go in first, but he's going to play it smart. He's going to wait until he has someone else to support him. As Sin Cara tries to buy time, but the stealth catches him off guard, but he doesn't know he's there. Galaxy has no idea. He just leaves, and Stigma's left alone.
Low HP and gets to survive, and it's a double for Penguin. He got rid of Yado and Ballin. Probably not two better targets he could have got onto. A triple. Penguin knows it's huge here in the NA Finals, and he is stepping up. Gets the final one there onto the Strix as well, and that is Snappin' winning yet another mid, and that is problems if you're Yeezy. They've been great on defense, but at some point they're gonna need to win a mid.
Finch, how is it that Kinessa gets dove, teleports into Alex, who runs away, and then Penguin is the one who goes on the 4K? I have no idea how that happened, but Penguin just pops off there, and with the distraction near the end, they win another mid-fight, and Snappin' look in a decent position to keep this up, especially with how aggressive Woodknock is. Again, he will fall, and no one actually is there to follow up, so unfortunate pressure there by them, and Yado's looking to burst out on the top left.
Could be an opportunity here for him, but Penguin knew all about it. Waits on the reversal, patient as you like. And that will be it for Yados, the 5 in a row now for Penguin. But how much ground can they find on this push? Without Stigma, chances are low. They lose Penguin as well, so Yeezy have done a good job to put a hole in the ship that is this offense. But just how much more can they get out of this? Sin Cara trying to buy some space up top, can't do it. And Snappin' will retreat for now until their squad returns.
Yeah, I don't think the tanks on Yeezy are really going to be able to push out this Barrack and this Ruckus, so Snappin will be able to maintain this forward positioning. Denying that really forward hold, I think, is actually crucial. Even with the cart that far back, you still want to contest at that level, and Snappin have been able to just kind of bypass a step on the tips to success they're trying to follow for this game here. But great control on the map so far. Woodknock's in a position to dive the backline, and there he goes right onto the Strix, but it looks like they might have the peel for it.
Yeah, Woodknock gonna have to retreat. He had a good positioning, but they knew he was there. Woodknock not having quite the free reign we saw from him before, and Penguin dropping to this Strix, absolutely stepping up now for YeezyPogChamp and matching the value that Stigma has had on this Canessa all map so far. So again, Snappin are delayed without having Penguin here, waiting on him to return, and perhaps hoping they can get a bit of a win here in this duel, but none doing. Strix a little bit too accurate so far.
Yeah, this Strix Modak's been doing better as the game has gone on. Just needed to reconnect, I guess, to the character here. But they're back on the card. Even losing Penguin, they didn't lose any space, and that can't feel bad for their sake. They have some ults they can spend if they want, but maybe Yeezy go first with how aggressive Yato is.
That's huge from Yato to get rid of Bones. Bones seemed to be the only one contesting him. Woodknock does get the kill, but I think Yato has more than done his job trading for the support on the offensive side. In fact, he's proven correct. Yeezy get the defense yet again, even a couple of kills for Sin Cara there after time. But all this defense is well and good, but what does Yeezy need to do different in these mids if they want to eventually get a win there?
Honestly, I have to watch this replay to tell you, because I was watching Stigma, and the rest of the team just ended up dying. That could have been a penta, honestly, for Penguin here on the fight. I think they just have to find a way to win that duel. They're so distracted by Stigma. I don't want to put pressure on Wadak, but they have to find some way to actually put Stigma further back here. I think damage-wise, Stigma's actually lower, but kill-wise, Stigma's the one up in the lead. Wadak has to be able to find these kills, but it looks like most of them are going Yato's way, who's dying quite a bit. Maybe find a way to time the Lex and Yato, the Lex and the Andrew at the same time onto the backline pressure, because Yato seems to be dying a lot more than Ratatouille's.
He has been getting picked. He's been getting good picks first, but almost certainly getting his life traded out for it. Woodknock is certainly the man to follow, though. And where exactly will his journey take him? Right into Alex, who has plenty of damage, but he makes his way back out of there. Now Yato, way up on the high ground, looking for where he can find himself a target, none doing. So we return back to Bones' journey, keeping the squad healed up. But so far, Yeezy, with 27% in their way, have had control over this mid. It looks like Snappin are trying to find a way through lava, and they will make their push. Penguin takes care of Yato first, though, and that makes it in favor of Snappin. How much more can they find now with Woodknock in the backline? But Woodknock taking too much damage and ends up falling for it. So they get a 1-for-1, but again, it's all coming in trades. No even picks for Snappin yet.
And look at how much pressure they're under by this overpower. They had to dome shield early. It did get countered by the law, but we're watching Bones. He literally can't peek. He can't peek anything because he could just get pulled immediately. Sin Cara has the ability to execute anybody as soon as they want. They have to collapse on him now, but look at how cautious they have to play. So much space is being bought, but they're playing so well around it, they can't really stop him.
Well, there's the Hexifier. This could be the answer they need for him, and it certainly is. They put down the con, and that should relieve the pressure. They move on to the mid, 60% and climbing. And another great use of Hexifier here for Woodknock. The whole squad was there, but Stigma loses the duel in the backline. Maybe that gives a breath of life here for YeezyPogChamp. As Yato looking for someone he can find, but he's challenged up top by Penguin. Not a kill, but it is enough to delay him for now, as Ratatouille was dropped earlier. Looks like Snappin are stalled at 93% though, and with Reincarnated dropping, that's going to make it a little bit easier for Yeezy to make their way in.
They did get the overpower out by that, though. That execute was what it did. They just traded their one tank for it. Now, hey, you weren't capping. You could have sent a DPS to the point. It looks like you can't because Stigma's there, and they take it away from him. Penguin just walks in and steals it.
It was great recognition from him, wasn't it? He just drops down, recognizing that too many tanks had fallen, and that means the mid yet again goes to Snappin, and that's what's so impressive. They win the first two outright by winning some great duels and finding their windows, but that time, even when Yeezy answered, great recognition to get into that window and win it again, and looks like they don't have too bad of an offense on the back of this either, but great positioning from the Strix causes yet another problem.
It's so tough, I think, for Yeezy when your biggest threat that needs to stay alive and needs to kind of be aggressive on a mid-fight is also your only tank. What can you realistically get away with? Because Sin Cara did it and then got traded out, but another kill in the back, Yato's running wild.
He has been all map long, hasn't he? He's been the life of this YeezyPogChamp team, aided, as you've mentioned so far, by that overpower and the threat of it so far, which has kept Snappin playing a bit cautiously. But so far, I think if you're Snappin, this is par for the course. You win another mid, the defense is a bit slow, but every mid has gone your way so far, so maybe you have some confidence that even without this push, the next mid could follow the same way as all the others.
Yeah, if you win every mid and lose every push, at the end of the day, you still win the game. You can't be feeling too bad about that, but Snappin', they've gotten close and they might have a chance. Woodnock just has to be careful in this duel against Ratatouille.
Let's see if he can win it. Ratatouille makes his way back to safety, but Penguin is willing to chase. So that is it for the Lex for now, but Penguin gets a double. He gets rid of Yato as well. Penguin doing all kind of works for Snappin'. It looks like they don't want to leave it up to another mid. They love to get this over here and now. And they've got some ultimates in the back pocket to do it. They still have the Dome Shield, which could perhaps be critical for them, not too far from another Hexafire if they're willing to commit it. But Woodnock says, I don't need it. He gets rid of the Strix the easy way, the hard way perhaps, as he shuts him down. The cart now right on the precipice of being converted. But Snappin' have fallen back a bit from the cart, but it looks to be working. Stigma gets a double kill. All of their damage dealers are stepping up in the final push. So there's some ultimates to try and counter it, but it will not be enough to shut down Snappin' this time. They push right on through and take care of the first fight. That means now they're up 2-0, because remember, by being in winners finals, they already had a one-map advantage.
That's got to feel amazing, just to be right there on the precipice because of how well you played before in Snappin'. I think they played great on that map as well, with Woodnock pulling them in the mines. They're saying, all right, we got to kill this solo ruckus, right? He's feeding. He's not even running damage reduction. We can just run at him and take him down. And then as soon as they try to walk in, there's an ice storm waiting for them, cutting them off. The teamwork on Snappin' is just hard to stop right now. And Yeezy, they hit him, they slowed him down, but they weren't able to stop the Snappin' train from rolling into the station.
And I think you made a great point. They're putting too much pressure on this Leon Shield Khan. He has to be there, pressure on offense and defense, and it's just too much they're asking of him. That's the way that we see it here on the cast. Dolson, how are you guys feeling on the desk?
I think more of the same from what you guys are feeling there, Finch and Kresnik. Great job on the call for game number 2. And, hey, just like that, Snappin' one game away from taking the grand finals over here in North America. And Gore, I think that really does change the dynamic here. The fact that there's kind of one less game for YeezyPogChamp to turn things around. I mean, it's now. It's literally now. You've technically played one game here in the grand finals, and you already got to win 3 straight. But let's break down a little bit of what we saw in game 2 a little bit more. What do you think goes right here for the Snappin' squad?
Honestly, the whole draft, I mean, I went into that game kind of expecting Snappin' to win. I think they just had something that worked a little bit better. I was impressed, though, with Stigma once again on this Kinessa. It shouldn't necessarily impress me as much anymore. I mean, I've been talking about this guy and his Kinessa for, well, what feels like years now. Maybe it's only been 2, but either way, he has been such a huge playmaker for the teams that he's on, and here it is pretty much no different. A lot of lockdown that comes through from this scope, and so much of it being able to work in tandem, either with an off-tank in the form of the Ruckus, or in some cases in the form of the Eevee being able to get up there, the flank, helping clean things up. I just think the damage presence from Snappin' was so much stronger than what realistically YeezyPogChamp could output. I mean, you've got a triple DPS over there, but unless Andro is finding those pop-off moments, which he did 9 times, but he died 13 out of all of those, it's not going to match what was the 12-5 or the 12-8 on the other side. Right.
I mean, that 13 just really stands out here. Nobody else in the game at double-digit deaths, but 12-12 as far as kills go for Stigma and Penguin. So difficult. Penguin had a couple big pop-offs here in this game. Healing numbers were in favor YeezyPogChamp here this game by the tune of about 20,000, which is something to say when you're looking at a triple DPS team, less health bars overall to heal. So Ballin Berry certainly did his best to lift up the rest of his team. But Gore, mentally, I mean, you know, it's one game at a time is obviously how you have to take it. But if you're YeezyPogChamp here at this point, you realize there's a little less wind-up time.
Oh, no.
But we go on to Shattered Desert. And this has been a map that YeezyPogChamp have maybe felt okay about.
They have chosen this map several times, and I will say they have not looked good on it most of the time, right? I mean, it is one that they continue going back to And I think they won out of one of those that they were able to come into. But, I mean, for the most part, this has not been very kind to them, so I don't expect it to be very nice. And again, Snappin', like, it's maybe not the healthiest mindset to use this as your example, but if you're YeezyPogChamp here, I'm almost saying, well, you know what? They won 3 straight against us when they were down 2 earlier. We can do it to them, right? Like, you got to bounce back almost by hurting yourself, but I just don't know if this is the map to do it, Dave.
I don't know if it's the map or the time. I don't want to hurt myself if I'm one game away.
You're down in the
from going out of the finals, right? I mean, maybe if you had a little bit more build-up time, but look, this YPC team, they're feeling comfortable with the map pick. We'll see how the picks and bans end up shaping our opinions on the way that this game might look. Sky's still available. Snap and remember took Sky away there on Splitstone Quarry, and they'll do the same here on Shadow Desert. Gore, I mean, we harped on it in picks and bans for Game 2. Here in Game 3, I'll mention it again. It seems like just a simple adaptation. Take that Sky away. That's really changed up how YPC have wanted to play these games.
Yeah, in the games that they've had her, again, only one of them where she didn't necessarily look too great, but otherwise she has been the driving force for them. And earlier, like, and go back all the way, it's a few hours, but to set 1, once you start seeing Pickled Pepper ban out that Sky, they started losing anyway because they were having to focus something else in that ban phase as opposed to some of the other, like, you know, things like Genos that are up there, the ROM that is up there. And that doesn't seem to be affecting Snappin' the same way, and I think that just comes down to the diversity that Snappin' have in their roster and the ability to reach deeper into their pockets for their champions. I mean, Rom Makoa, I could see them running very easily, maybe not against Genos Barrack, but they've gone to Drogos, they've gone to Willow, they've played Bomb King. Like, they're willing to pull out blasters no one else is playing, and that's giving them, in my mind, a definitive edge over every team in North America.
Agreed. I think that just one pick, that one bit of flexibility changes up a whole lot as far as picks and bans go here. Rom won't get banned out this time. Khan and Shaolin taken away by YPC will open up a wider variety of picks here for Snappin' in game number 3. So Rom makes his way through. Makoa there as well. Gore seems like a knockdown, drag-out kind of play style both of these frontliners are going for here. Rom's going to open up some space. Makoa's going to pull you in to Snappin' space. Now you just need someone who's good at following up.
I really, again, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Snappin'. They've got an aggressive comp, a Grover to give them healing, and while the triple DPS from YeezyPogChamp in this case is one that has been tried and true on this map, Koga is a little shaky for me. Honestly, I didn't think I'd be saying this after the way she's performed all year, but Vivian is a little shaky for me. I just don't know how well she's going to be able to handle the onslaught of damage coming her way. It's all up to what Snappin' lock in last. I'd like a Maeve here or an Eevee once again. I just don't know if they have that quite in their pocket. Instead, they're going for my favorite, Dave. I like this draft all around. I think this is a good Shattered Desert draft. I think YeezyPogChamp have a better draft on this map than what we've seen in the last few sets, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to get them their win.
Do you think that adding the Barrack instead of what we've seen as this solo tank Khan is an upgrade here in this case, especially on a map like Shattered Desert?
I like it a lot more. I think it helps thwart things. Again, like the Drogos, the Eevee, knowing that Barrack is going to be there versus a Khan, who I wouldn't be as worried about. He's definitely going to have a lot more merits, and he's definitely going to perform better as a solo tank. I just don't know if it's going to do it.
Well, it's time now to potentially crown a North American champion. Finch and Krez will take us in.
You are absolutely right, Golson. Shattered Desert will be the battleground as Snappin' are on championship point to be the best in North America that we have in Paladins, and all that stands in their way is YeezyPogChamp with this solo tank Barrack. He's got the Fortify, Krez. Will that keep them at bay?
I think as a solo tank, it can do it. They have double backline effectively on the side of Snappin', so that shield definitely going to be crucial to keep that Barrack alive, but there's not a ton of healing. It is just the Genos. Yeezy are basically leaning on the Barrack saying, all right, listen, you live, everybody else will try to win the game around you. With a Makoa shield in the way, that'll be difficult, but it's a wide map. They can try to ignore it as Snappin' Penguin, it looks like maybe already a little disconnect from that shield, but it's a slow start. Snappin' have point control.
They do already up to 36%. Snappin' have been on fire all weekend. How can YeezyPogChamp put out those flames? We'll have our chance to see. As Woodnock now on the ROM, been doing well on the Ruckus so far, but looks like he wants a change of pace. I don't know how big of a change it is. He still gets into the back line and shoots everyone, and Reincarnated certainly looking comfortable. It's Yado who had a great game on Splitstone that's dropped already. 54% now for snapping on this very first mid-fight. Sigma forced to retreat as Ratatouille drops as well. Reincarnated taking heads right now as he's putting in the last bit of damage. And already they're pushing up. They're keeping YeezyPogChamp zoned away. And I don't know if this Barrack can do enough to get past. He has the dash, but can he find the touch? Yado sure can, and that's enough for Snappin to win the very first mid.
Oh, it's such a give and take into this composition with triple DPS. When you're playing into Makoa, yeah, you're going to farm him. He's got a massive head, and you have triple hit scan DPS with a Genos boost. But he's just going to hook you, and you're going to die right away. But sometimes you're going to get rapid swings like this, where now YeezyPogChamp have Snappin on the back foot.
This is great for them. They can now try and set up a bit of aggressive zone themselves and eat up some of this clock. Shattered Desert isn't the hardest push in the world, but that final part of the map is so difficult that any time YeezyPogChamp can strip away here could be huge. Ballenberry not quite going to find the snipe with the ultimate, but I like that he's looking for him, is snapping her back and ready to play. Ratatouille trying to see if he can take care of the Grover, but taking too much fire, at least for now, from the ROM.
Yeah, I think Ballin was just doing that to show off that he had it, right? I'm on support. I got my ult ready. What about it? I'll try for something with it here. As look at this pressure on the side. They force out the Cyclone Strike. They're trying to get something here, but Ratatouille overextends and gets stuck.
And I know we're going to be at the end of that, and I've got a bomb waiting for you. Not bad there from Penguin to find another kill and set up for this cart to finally get moving. If they can get this kill here onto Sin Cara, they certainly can. That's absolutely big. Now, they don't have to worry about a tank for a while longer. They even get another kill onto Yado. YeezyPogChamp's defense falling apart a bit, but that's not the end of the world. They were up aggressively. They'll respawn in position for defense, but this cart's getting a lot of progress.
They're definitely not unhappy about that defense. Only a minute left. It's just going around the halfway point, and this isn't the easiest capture here to get with a half shell in the way as well for Snappin. As soon as that goes down, they can get a little bit further out, but they have a lot of hit scan damage about how well the poke is, and it seems like a lot for Yeezy to deal with.
Yado had reversal up there, right? I mean, it wasn't enough. It didn't get up there soon enough or last long enough. But whichever way, it takes a ton of damage, gets back to the base, and now Snappin are right on the precipice of victory. This is where things like Cataclysm and King Bomb are huge, but that Cataclysm doesn't quite find the value. How does he live? He gets the healing, and Ballenberry goes down. The Cataclysm did do work, but will it be enough? Into the backline goes Ratatouille, and he is able to help set up for one kill. He has the ultimate back up as well, but King Bomb gets away from it, gets the ultimate off, and Snappin are able to convert.
That is a unreal, unfortunate event for YeezyPogChamp. I was going to say unreal ult, and then I realized that there was a whole second where Ratatouille was reloading and Woodknock lived with about a pixel of health before Bones was able to make it over there with that whirlwind. But that shows what Grover can really do for your team. He's poking, he's keeping you healed up, he's getting CC. I think 3 of those biggest turns in that game were off of that Grover, right? The root on the escaping Androxus a little bit earlier, the whirlwind there to keep Woodknock alive and let him set up for a second kill, just nuts here, and out healing that Genos on a map where maybe you want to be a little bit more spread out. But Bones is playing that Grover fine with it. He's saying, all right, we'll spread out. I know 2 of us at a time, but the damage I'm going to do is going to make up for it, and I'm still going to out-heal you.
And I'm certain that they're glad to be playing with Bones now. Whatever might have happened before, he is showing up here and now. Looks like the Dome Shield used to try and get some early control for YeezyPogChamp, and with that fast cap, that could be enough if you establish some early control and get a couple of picks. We'll see how Snappin choose to respond. Reincarnated and the squad move over to the left lane, and Penguin gets an early pick on the Ratatouille, so now Snappin can move right out. They bury Sin Cara as well for a second pick, and now Reincarnated getting aggressive, finds the hook. That's it for Ballenberry. Stigma puts down Yado, and there's no one in North America that can stand to Snappin right now. This team seems to do whatever they want.
And they just understand the meta, I think, so well with this draft. It looks like Yeezy are really struggling to find an opening. Reincarnated on this Koa is hitting everything. And now look at this Bomb King, not picked up here, but he's zoning out Ratatouille, and he might have been their last chance to touch.
Did a bit better than that with the kill, and that is now 3 points for Snap, and they've now got 4 cracks at winning here in North America, at being your champions for the entire region. But YeezyPogChamp don't want to give that up too quickly. They've got a nice little defense of their own brewing, but a ton of time to try and chew through here, Chris.
Yeah, look at this positioning by Woodnock. They're definitely setting up, obviously, as soon as the respawns are here, to go in. They don't have anyone on this flank, and he's going to get dismounted by a turret, but it's hard to notice that right away, although the ROM shooting the minigun will probably give him up as they try to collapse, but he's already pulled, but he's pulling three of them back to fight him.
Yeah, this is huge, right? Woodnock has done his job. With them pointing this way, that should open up for the rest of the squad to move up, and they do. Get the kill on a Ratatouille, yes, but the Vivian has had some decent responses with the checkerboarding in the kills, favoring YeezyPogChamp. It looks like Woodnock wasn't able to do quite enough. I think that turret really hurt him, Chris. He'd have really loved to have not shown up there.
Seriously, if he could come up right behind them and sandwich those two that were isolated, that would have been perfect. He distracted them for a little bit, but I think just him dying so fast to Wadak was really what hurt them in the end. And look at this, he's going in. He might just go for an ult here if he can. They're stacked up, but he's holding off. He wants to wait for a better opportunity.
Well, especially now that they've lost Penguin, maybe he'll ease up, but Bones and Reincarnated get 2 kills to go their way. So things might have changed a bit here in Woodnock's calculations. Perhaps if he can find one, he'll take it. But YeezyPogChamp have completely backed up. The cart now rolling through, and they're halfway to being your NA champs. 50 seconds left to try and grab the W, and YeezyPogChamp need every last one of those seconds if they're going to defend. Stigma uses the ultimate for information. They know exactly where YeezyPogChamp are now, and they can start to move up to try and capitalize. Stigma moving up with Woodnock. They've been a powerful tandem before, but it looks like Stigma done. He'll move up on the left side instead.
Yeah, the pressure's on, but none of them have really been here before, so we'll see how they handle it now that it actually really is in their reach. But they're sending Yeezy back. They're reeling, and they find the first pick.
They're executing. Whirlwind is here to keep everyone healthy and alive as they continue their battle, but Bones dies the second it's over. Ratatouille gets himself a double. But Stigma and Reincarnated are able to answer back. They know Ratatouille's low, but they can't lock him down. The dashes are good, but they're not enough. Reincarnated gets another, and Snappin are able to do it. Your North American Paladins champions will indeed be Snappin.
And what a turnaround from how they were before, right? I mean, they were the team that almost didn't make it into this phase.
Right.
They were so close to relegations, and then one little roster change, a little bit of practice, a meta that fits them perfectly, and here they are standing on top of the heap at the end of the day.
And a strong heap that it is, all right? I mean,
yes, seriously.
Pepper, we're looking sick all year. I mean, even Sanguine, we're coming right back for him. Then obviously given a very great run here at the end by YeezyPogChamp, but none of it was enough to stop Snappin from standing tall. And you can close your eyes, throw a dart, pick any one of those guys, and they were instrumental in this win.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Penguin's flexibility on the blasters, having Reincarnated's flexibility on the tanks too, Woodnock being one of the best that there is. Just monstrous performance from all of them here, and I think that at the end of the day, they deserved this win with all the time that they put in.
Yeah, these guys absolutely hit fire at the right time, and they will be your NA champs. To break it down, though, we'll get it back to Dolson and Gore on the desk.
When the dust settles on this long, long day of North American Paladins action, it is Snappin who wear the crown of North American Paladins champions for this year. Congrats to Snappin. Also congrats to YeezyPogChamp, Gore, I think, for making the run that they had. They had to beat Pickled Pepper, a team that rarely loses twice to get into the finals, and they were able to do so. But the way that Snappin were playing, it was always going to be a tall task. Gore, missing you there, Gore Miser. I imagine what you're saying is how hype it truly is that YeezyPogChamp had made their way into this situation.
Yeah, and the fact that literally no one else had ever been able to beat Pickled Pepper twice. I mean, Snappin is the only team that beat Pickled Pepper once during that regular season, and so it didn't quite hit the mark for him. So the fact that anyone was able to come through and showcase that is big. The first seed getting eliminated by the fourth seed is huge, and like you said, congratulations to YeezyPogChamp just for having a stellar weekend. But better for Snappin. I mean, this is a group of guys. I remember a few weeks ago, Dave, when we were watching them. Specifically, Penguin is the one that stood out to me. But I think all of them throughout this. I mean, Stigma, I give him credit for snipers showing up on maps like Bright Marsh on Ice Mines. He's one that kind of created some niche metas that worked for him. Bones as well as a support really resurged and is insanely good. Improved themselves here, but it was Penguin that kind of caught my eye for this team when he started playing, you know, your Bomb Kings, your Drogoses, your Willows, all of that comes through. The thing Snappin have that I think, and I said this earlier, but that elevated them up to the point where they are here 3-0 for the finals, is their just elasticity, the ability to play anything they want in the game and make it work. They have just done a stellar job grinding for this, and they deserve nothing but this win.
We had 6 sets today. 2 of them, only 2 of them, were not a 5-game set, and they were on the opposite end. A 3-game set, and both of them were in Snappen's hands. So a little bit of a test there against YeezyPogChamp the first time. And I think you have to give props to YPC here. They played 4 sets today, 3 of them go to game 5, and then this one obviously just a 3-game set. The mental fortitude to play that much Paladins that long in a day.
It's a long day.
And still be able to stand out on top. I think big props there to them. I love everyone on that YeezyPogChamp team, but here's to this being the last time I say the name YeezyPogChamp for a long time. And we'll just give Snappen some props here, your North American champions. And Gore, that's just day 1. We've got 2 more days of what should be just as exciting action here in the Paladins World Championships in 2020. Tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m., we've got Europe. It's Yoinkers and a bunch of the other guys over there in Europe that will be competing. And then Sunday, also 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be moving on over to Brazil. So Gore, what do you think? You look at EU, you look at Brazil. You think those have potential for some close matchups as well?
I'm really excited for Europe. Yoinkers had a very, very long streak, very similar to Pickled Pepper, which I guess as we saw today doesn't mean anything. Clown Fiesta is the team I've got my eyes on over there. And Brazil's always interesting. Parallax, undefeated in Phase 2. I'm just excited to see if they can keep that up throughout this tournament and just prove themselves overall as the #1 team in Brazil. And that's an impressive run just altogether.
Pickled Pepper lost once and ended up falling out in the losers finals. So you hope that that's not a trend, although I suppose first seed and high-res events tend to not necessarily go hand in hand with one another. So Gore, I think then, jokes aside, we start to look over towards Europe. That's obviously what we're going to be diving into tomorrow. Yoinkers, far and away the best team there in that region. Given what we've seen today, obviously it's a different team in a different region. Do you have Yoinkers as your favorites over there in Europe?
I don't. This is actually one of the ones I'm diverging. I think in North America and Brazil, I came in favoring the #1 seed. I said it earlier today that I expected Pickled Pepper to be able to come out at least top 2. Very wrong about that one. Parallax Gaming, I have in a very similar slot because they've been undefeated and because they're so solid. But in this one, I think tomorrow what you're going to be looking at is, a little bit of Game 1. But Clown Fiesta, they're the roster I've got my eyes on. A lot of huge historic names on that team. Alex, as well as Ninu, Simzala, Bolka, Exentra. All 5 of those players have won a LAN at one time or another. Alex is a current reigning world champ in Europe. So something that you got to keep your eyes on there, I think, for that team.
Well, here's your schedule for tomorrow, and starts off with Yoinkers going up against Celestial, the team that we had just talked about there. 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Gore, any final takeaways from over here in North America? Big congrats to Snappen, obviously.
I'm blown away with the competitive nature of North America. After what's been happening all phase, the fact that we got so many 3-2s, that the #1 seed and as well as the summer champions got eliminated first throughout all of this, I think it shows that, again, YeezyPogChamp and Snappen, our victors, are even more escalated above that level of play just because of what they were able to do.
Well, everyone watching at home, make sure you tune in at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be going through the same deal again, but this time over in Europe. And in the midst of our 10th hour of broadcast today, I will thank everyone for watching. On behalf of myself, Gore Miser, all the other casters, everyone back in production, we'll see you tomorrow.